What is up, guys? Today we're doing a super exciting job of a kill switch in the Jeep. As you can tell, cold as fuck. So, today I'm huddled in here for as long as I can. That's about the least interesting thing to ever watch if you live in anywhere near here if you live in Canada, or Alberta specifically. We are the stolen car capital of Canada. Ish. So, got a few little pointers here, some things you'll need. Most importantly, there's about 3 different options you can have. There are going to be the starter kill switch, the 12-volt ignition, or the fuel pump. Those are your most common kill switches you'll find. They all have some pros and cons. Also depends on the vehicle you are using. So, get into those a little later. First off, we'll start with things you will need. So, I would recommend solder, whatever job you are doing, especially with a kill switch where its only purpose is to disable your car. You kind of don't want that falling apart. So if you're using crimp connectors, there we go. If you're using crimp connectors, obviously not the best way to connect wires. There can be the possibility of corrosion as well as pulling the wires out. So strongly recommend soldering. However, if you suck at soldering, you're just going to make it worse for yourself. I would recommend getting these heat shrink crimp connectors. Crimp them on like a normal one, and then you use a lighter, that shrinks, sealing it, holding it together, a little bit of structure. Personally, one of these two I would recommend. I wouldn't even try it with these. Again, depends on the location of it. If you're going to be running your internal wires in the cab, you could probably get away with these. If you're going to be under the vehicle, which shouldn't have to do, solder. That's your only way, as well as shrink tubes. Okay. Shrink tubes, as well as solder, will help seal it and give you a better connection, longer lasting connections as well. So, that out of the way. Next option is switches. So you have momentary switches where it will not lock in one position. I don't have one to demonstrate, so that's all I've got. I use 2-position switches. Now, when you are doing a kill switch, you're not going to want to run large amount of current through your switch. So use a relay, use the signal current for a circuit, such as your fuel pump. Still recommend getting a beefy switch. Don't get a shit quality because that breaks. And if you have a fuel pump kill switch and that just kind of falls apart, some cheap shit, you're fucked. So, you can't always disconnect the terminals, touch them together, limp you by, but again, just want to be smart about what you're doing. As far as your wiring goes, you want to keep it nice, clean, and tidy and hidden. So, obviously a kill switch, you want to kind of try and hide that. So, I use a little trick. I put the 2 wires into a drill, and I spin them up, and it gives them a nice, clean strand, and that will be easier to run through your firewall. And I would pair that with your wire loom to give it a factory look, so when you run this anywhere, no one will see this. It should fly under the radar. You don't want giant red wires hanging down under your dash. It's pretty obvious something has happened. So it's going to be easy to find. And again, defeats the purpose of a kill switch. Along with that, you're going to want to throw your cable ties across a shop. And you want to use these as well as loom to tuck this up nice and tight, hiding your wiring and helping prevent everything you care about, love, and all your thousands of dollars from getting stolen. So now that we have a rough idea of what we're doing, things you're going to need, things you're going to want, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show you some spots. I'm going to bravely venture out into the Canadian tundra. I'm going to show you some locations you could put these kill switches and some tips on how to avoid someone immediately spotting your sad attempt of a kill switch. Alright guys, we're going to be cuddling in here because I don't want to be out there. It's cold, so as far as your kill switches go, how can I do this? Oh, it's just driving me nuts. There we go. As far as your kill switches go, those different switch types you have, depends on the kill switch you are doing. So if you are trying to kill the starting circuit, your best bet is going to be a momentary switch, where you would have to hold that button at the same time you're turning your key. Now you can do that to a toggle switch as well. It just kind of depends on your preference and materials that you have. So again, depends on the person. As far as hiding your kill switch, the biggest no-nos are going to be right under the dash and in the glove box. If the vehicle is not starting, unless it's a Jeep, they will suspect there's a kill switch. If it's a Jeep and it doesn't start, that's pretty normal. So they, might just take off. As far as hiding your kill switch, it's pretty important to hide your wiring. So if your wiring is hanging down under the dash, stands out. If you're gonna hide a kill switch, get creative. It takes a lot of time to hide it. Obviously, the more time you take though, more effective it's gonna be. So, seeing people throw them in cubbies here. You can put them in glove boxes. You can. It is one way to do it for sure. You do want it in your area though. You don't want to be reaching over there doing shit. Be a very good hiding spot. I've seen a lot of people on the pillar going down behind the seats. They'll tuck a switch at the bottom here and you reach back and you flick it. You can put them under your seat. You can put them in cubbies and cup holders and stuff. Obviously though, you just want to try and tidy it up, make it nice and clean. So if you're going on the center console and you put one in here, and all you have to do is pop this up to flip your switch. Again, you just want to nice and tuck it up here. Use a lot of cable ties. Nice. Use a lot of cable ties, just keeping it nice and neat. Obviously, the starting circuit kill switch has one giant issue with it. If you can get a screwdriver in here and turn your key, and it won't turn over. If they leave it in that position, and you crawl underneath with a screwdriver and you jump the starter, kill switch didn't do much good. So that's a limitation for the starter. The pros and cons of a fuel pump or 12-volt ignition is obviously they'll be able to start it, but it won't catch. So they might think it's broken, do whatever. Can't figure it out, and they leave your car without smashing your windows, hopefully. Not always the case. If you are going to do a fuel pump kill switch, they will be able to start it and it will run only for a couple seconds. Should only run for a couple seconds. So again, kind of a shortfall of the fuel pump. However, it is less suspecting. It is more inconspicuous coming from a thief's point of view to steal your car, because obviously it's not a glaring issue that there's a kill switch on it. Could be something mechanical, whatever, don't know. They're interesting fellas, eh? So, very, very important. Whatever wiring you do in the ignition, if you are trying to do a 12-volt ignition kill switch, do it very clean and very carefully, because that's pretty important. If you do screw up the wiring, you're done. So, that's more of a headache. You don't want to give yourself more issues down the road. Oh, comfort for sure. So as far as your wiring going through the firewall, I would recommend using grommets so you don't short your wires out and burn your Jeep down. I know on the 97 and up Jeeps, I think you have a fuse box over here. However, I think you need the one in the engine compartment under the hood. Now I have a 96 and down. I think this one is a fuel pump. Boom. That's important. We're not going to put that in yet. I'm huddled in here again for warmth. So as you can see, if that is out, it will not start. It will start, and then it'll die. Make me a liar. Apparently it'll start. Anyway, that's going to be your best bet, honestly. Again, on the 97 and down XJs. On the 97 and up XJs, there's a big old fuse. It has a giant fuse box under the hood. And that should have your giant fuses for your fuel pump and all the other good things. So it depends on the vehicle. I would recommend an owner's manual or Haynes manual. They do have wiring diagrams, and of course do your Googling. So very straightforward. It's just something you want to take extra care with. You don't want to do sloppy jobs. This will ruin your car. And of course, when you're done, you gotta double check and make sure your kill switch works. Good. If you guys have any questions on how to wire these or use relays or where to tap into for your kill switch, shoot me a message and I will let you know what your best bet would be and how to do it and where to go. So thanks for watching.